Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to take a quick look at the game Monopoly Tycoon. Monopoly Tycoon was released, I think, back in 2001, and if you can get it to work on your computer, it's a pretty fun game. In order for me to get it to work, I've had to disable the music. Whenever you boot up the game, a window will pop up that allows you to configure it. Just check the no music box, and that'll get you past the crash box or the crash error message. And that worked for me anyway. On the main menu, you can create a profile, do some tutorials. As you can see, there's quite a few things to learn. Single player, multiplayer, load games, settings. Under the settings menu, you can adjust sound sliders. Again, there's no music because I had to disable it in order for it to work. Graphics. You can set your detail options, low, medium, high, filtering type, and draw distance. Gameplay, auto camera rotate, invert, vertical camera movement, hardware cursor, mouse sensitivity. And you can choose between different street names, depending on what country you'd like to use. A single player game puts you through like a campaign, um, and basically you're going to be trying to complete a particular goal before the AI opponents do. You'll have 3 difficulty levels. In fact, you'll see them here: bronze, silver, and gold. Um, it starts out easy, but it gets harder as the game goes on. I remember some of the later ones are pretty darn difficult. But yeah, you can try out the different difficulties, and that's that. Multiplayer lets you do exactly the same thing. You can either host a game or join one. Now, the difference between the two games, though, is that there's no speed up button. In single player, there's a 4x button that allows you to speed up time. In multiplayer, you won't be able to do that. You'll have to sit there just sit there and not be able to speed up the game. And at certain points, that can be a bit boring. Luckily, you can Alt Tab the game, do whatever you want, and the game will still run in the background. So that's what I do. I just browse the internet for a little while and then come back to it when the day starts again. But I'll explain that in a minute. For the purposes of this review, I'll be just doing a multiplayer game. I'll be hosting one, and that'll allow me to set some game conditions. I could, for example, set the daily profit value to 10,000, and also the difficulty level. There's also number of sales, largest empire value by a certain date, empire value of a certain value, first to be mayor, last man standing. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a profit of 10,000. After doing that, you can fly solo if you want, or you can play against another human or AI. Alright, looks good. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and hold off on building anything for a moment. I'm sure the computer will pull ahead of me in a minute, but I just want to at least show you what the interface is all about. The lower right hand corner, you can navigate around the map here. You'll see some familiar names: North Carolina, you've got your St. Charles Place over here, all the things you'd expect to find on a Monopoly board, at least the US version. Oriental Avenue. So what you can do is you can pick a city block and start building things on it. On the left-hand side, you'll see a number of different buttons. You can see what players are doing down here. For example, the dog just built something. You see a negative 180 there, and I don't know where she went, but I'm sure it'll tell me in a minute. You can also chat to people down here. You just click on their button, and you can type in something and send it. And if you want to see your stats in comparison with other people, you can just simply click on these arrows and see different things. Yesterday's 6 a.m. costs, sales, cash, business, total profit. So that's nice that you can see everyone's status right here without having to navigate menus. Above this part, there's a build menu here. You have to click on a city block first. Okay, and that'll let you build a retail building or a residential building. I'm going to go ahead and build a retail building, and there's two types. There's a day business and a night business. The day businesses are open during the day, obviously. Right now it's 1:25 p.m., so if I build a day business right now, I'll actually be wasting money. I'll be spending all that money to build up some stock for it, but it'll only be open for like 3 or 4 hours, so that would actually be bad for me. I'd lose money. So I'm going to go ahead and start some night businesses. There's only like 5 to choose from, but at least I'll be able to get a full night's work out of it. Now you can drag, like I just did, to build to assign the parameters of the building or the size. From there you can increase the number of floors, and you can see the stock capacity changes as you do that, although that becomes more expensive. So I'm going to go ahead and keep things at low quality. 2 floors is the minimum. You can change the look of the building if you want, and you can zoom with the right mouse button. You just click and hold that and move the mouse up and down, and you can zoom up and down like that. Alright, so there's one. Try a cinema. Do the same thing. Stock 40. Let's bump that up to 54. People like movies, right? Okay. As you can see on the right hand side, my cash is going down. But that's alright, hopefully we'll make it up with sales. Let's do a restaurant. There we go. Try to keep everything the same style. There we go. I don't think the style matters, honestly, but I'm OCD, so what are you gonna do? Alright, now that nighttime is approaching, you'll see that these little cash icons are floating above the buildings. That means people are going in and buying stuff. If you double click on a building, you can open up the price menu. You can see the stock you have at the moment, today's sales, stock I want. Basically, that's how much you're willing to spend at the beginning of the day to stock that building. You can increase and decrease that as you want to. You can set the selling price if you think people aren't buying as much as they should be. You can decrease the price to attract more sales. Personally, I like to try and find a balance. Not so that everyone buys everything right away and it's done for the rest of the night. I like to see the sales, the stock I have run out just as the day is ending. That's a good indicator that you have just the right amount of price. Things aren't too expensive to where people aren't buying anything, and things aren't too cheap to where people are just snatching everything up within the first hour and you're not making much out of it. So finding a good balance will allow you to sell all your stock, but make a pretty good profit in the meantime. Alright, let's see what the cinema's doing. Today's sales, let's lower that a little bit. Alright, let's lower that too. I'd rather the stock sell than not at all, because things are wasted at the end of the day. So unless you sell it, you're out that money. So I'd rather sell it for a cheap price and then raise prices later than just let it go to waste. Alright, now while that's occurring, let's see what else you can do up here. You can also build residential. Basically, that's where people can stay. You just simply get a flat rent payment every day, which is kind of useful. So I'm going to go ahead and build an apartment building. Let's build one bigger. And we'll go 9 floors. Okay, it's going to cost me 2,000 something to do that, but yeah. Alright, at midnight, the day ends. you'll have between, I think, 12 and I think 5 or 6 or something like that, to where nothing is going on, and that's where I usually alt-tab the game if I'm not doing something else like building. But in this case, the day is going to be starting soon, so I'm going to go ahead and it looks like the dog is infringing on my territory. Wow, she's been busy. Alright, well, let's see if I can... I guess, let's see if I can just build a few day businesses over here, and then I'll go somewhere else. Alright, let's build a bakery. Keep in mind that you have to pay maintenance and stock costs at the start of the day, so don't spend down to 0 before the day's out. The rent kind of helps to make up for that from these residential buildings, but I wouldn't count on them. Alright, bakery, bookstore, yeah, let's do another one. Butcher shop. Cafe. Yeah, as you can see, there's a lot more to choose from during the day, so I like to build a good mix and hope for the best. I also like to keep the buildings relatively small just so that the stock costs don't go out of control. I'd rather have a little bit of stock and then it all sell rather than have a lot of stock and then some of it not sell. Fish market. Alright, start of the day is approaching. 6 a.m. Alright, at that point I'm going to stop building day buildings and let hopefully these make a profit. Alright, let me lower the prices on some of these just a bit. I don't know how well they're going to do, but... Alright, while all that's going on, let me show you some other stuff here. If you click on a particular business, you'll see a number of different things over here. You can demolish it, you can refurbish it, which means you can change the dimensions or the size. You can buy out the business. If that happens to be an opponent, you can try and buy it out if you have the money to do it. If you click on this plus minus button, it's the same as double clicking it. That'll bring up the price menu. And the information status button is already pressed. That'll allow you to see the business information and how it's doing. What I prefer to do is click on the city block itself and click on this efficiency button on the top here. That allows you to see every business on the block and how much stock it's currently selling. As you can see, the apartment's full, so I'm good there. At the moment, my bakery, butcher shop, cafe, newsstand, and fish market are open because they're day businesses. These 3 on the top are night businesses, so they're not going to start selling anything until later in the day. Now, it looks like my cafe's doing relatively well. I may want to bump up prices a bit on that. Butcher shop's almost sold out. Okay, butcher shop's sold out. Newsstand, not selling as fast as I'd like. Let me lower that. Like I said, it's all about balance. Fish market's almost sold out. Alright, all in all, a good day. Now, while that's going on, let me show you a few other things. On the upper right-hand corner, you can chance a card. Basically, it's just a random event. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. Let me go ahead and press that. Your holiday fund has matured. You have gained $200. Well, good for me. Okay. So there's that. Around the board, you can actually bid to lease on particular buildings like utilities and railroads. If you click on, let's say this gasworks, and hit lease block, that will begin a countdown on the right hand side here, basically time to auction. When the auction hits, you and your opponents will have a chance to auction for it. If you happen to get it, you'll get a steady stream of income from that particular building. For example, if you happen to become the landlord of this particular gasworks, you put the money down, you get it. Every day you'll get a stipend from that. Just gasworks 217, but if you happen to have some other utilities, you'll see that your daily stipend will go up. So there's a nice little like property management aspect to the game too, and I think that's really cool. As you can see, you can do the same thing with the railroads. 200, 400, 600, 800. And you can see who the station owners are just right here. And you can do the same thing with city blocks too, which is kind of nice. And I do believe if you happen to lease all three, you'll be able to buy out buildings. I don't think you can buy out a building of your opponent until you actually own a monopoly on all three. I could be wrong, but it's been a while since I've played. But now it's important to note that building on like Boardwalk and Park Place are a lot more expensive than building on, say, Port Jefferson. I always start out small on these cheaper properties just so I can build more, and then I eventually work my way around the board to the more expensive stuff. Alright, 5:52, the night businesses should be starting up soon. Alright, that's a sign that the auction's about to start. And she has a chance to counter my bid of 550. She did not. And I'm dancing around like an idiot. Okay. Alright, now I have that particular utility, so I'm going to go ahead and try different, do waterworks now. If I can get enough of these, I'll get a nice little stipend here. Clicking on this block view in the bottom right hand corner here, you can see the map at a glance. You've got things like zoo, school, telecom, electric, and you can see these pink buildings here are my opponent. You've got some neutral buildings here to help fill in, to meet customer needs as they're going around, and you can buy those out if you want. Although I find it's a lot easier to buy out your opponent. It kills two birds with one stone. You're limiting their profit margin while boosting your own. If you have the money to do it, that is. It can be very expensive to buy something out. Alright, so there you have it. That's just a quick look at the game Monopoly Tycoon. Nothing fancy, but it should give you an idea of how the game is played. You can check out the quick article I wrote up at www.dadsgamingaddiction.com, or you can simply click on the link in the below description. That'll take you there as well. This is Vince, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.